In this video, let's talk about algebra. Let's say I think of a number and add 5 to it. Can you tell me what's the answer? Obviously, that's an absurd question to ask because I haven't told you what my number is. If my number is 2, the answer is 2 plus 5, which is 7. If my number is 50, let's say, the answer is 50 plus 5, which is 55. If my number is, let's say, 1000, the answer is 1000 plus 5, which is 1005, and so on. You can't tell what the answer is unless I tell you what my number is, right? Such a number that can assume more than one value or is not known to us is called a variable or an unknown. An unknown or a variable is usually represented by a letter of the English alphabet like X, Y, Z, and so on. On the other hand, a number whose value is fixed and doesn't change is called a constant. So going back to what's the result when 5 is added to my number, if we use X to represent my number, the answer or the sum is X plus 5. X plus 5 is known as an algebraic expression. In one variable, that is X, and note that X is just a dummy or an alias name for a number that we do not know or one that can change. The number 5 or positive 5 is the constant in the expression. Other examples of algebraic expressions are, let's say, p square plus 5p minus 6, in which the variable is p. Now p square means p times p, so there's a number we do not know its value or its value can change, is multiplied with itself, p times p is p square, plus 5 multiplied with that variable or that unknown, 5 times p is 5p, minus the number 6 as we know it. So the constant is negative 6. Similarly, x square y plus 2xy square minus xy minus 1 is another algebraic expression in which the variables are x and y both. There are two variables in this expression, as you can see. And x square y means what? X square y means x multiplied with x multiplied with y. 2xy square means the number 2 as we know it multiplied with x multiplied with y square or y times y. And this obviously means x times y, that's xy, and minus 1, the constant, the number negative 1 as we know it. When the numbers representing the variables in an expression are known, you can find the numerical value of the overall expression, and that's what you call evaluating the expression. Thus, if p is equal to 2, in p square plus 5p minus 6, the value of this expression is what you get when you plug in 2 in place of p. So this is p square, which means p times p or 2 times 2, plus 5p is 5 times p or 5 times 2 minus 6, which is 4 plus 10 minus 6 or 14 minus 6, which is 8. So the value of this expression p square plus 5p minus 6 is 8 if p is equal to 2. Obviously you don't know what p is. We can assume several values. Reason why it's called a variable or an unknown. Let's do a quick review on adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing signed numbers. Signed numbers are numbers that can either be positive or negative. And to do operations on signed numbers, rule number 1 is whenever you come across two signs, positive or negative, next to each other, combine them so that a plus with a plus gives you a plus, a double positive is a positive, double negative is a positive, but a positive followed by a negative is a negative, and a negative followed by a positive is also a negative. So if you see the same signs next to each other, the result is a positive. Positive and a positive gives you a positive, negative and a negative gives you a positive. If you see opposite signs, like a plus followed by a minus or a minus followed by a plus, you can combine them to have one single minus or one single negative. Thus, 4 minus negative 3 is these two combine to give you one single plus. So you have 4 plus 3, which is 7. To add and subtract positives and negatives, first combine the double signs as I just explained. Then add up the positives and the negatives separately. Whichever side is more determines the sign of the answer, and the difference between the two sides gives you the numerical value of the answer. For example, if you want to simplify or combine negative 4 minus a positive 2 plus 7 minus negative 1 plus negative 10, your first job is to apply rule number 1 like I said over here. Combine these two to get a single negative. So we have negative 4 minus 2 plus 7. Combine these two to get a single positive plus 1, and combine these two to get a single negative minus 10. And now add up the positives separately. So we have a plus 7 and plus 1. So we have a positive 8, and then add up the negatives separately. We have a negative 4 and a negative 2 and a negative 10. So 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 plus 10 is 16. So we have a positive 8 and a negative 16. I said that whichever side is heavier determines the sign of the answer. So the answer is going to be negative. Negative how much? 16 minus 8 is 8. So negative 4 minus positive 2 plus 7 minus negative 1 plus negative 10 combine to give you one single number, which is negative 8. Multiplication and division follow the same rule. And the rule is, if the two numbers being multiplied or divided are of the same sign, the answer is positive, and if they are of opposite signs, the answer is negative. So positive 3 multiplied with positive 2 is a positive 6. Negative 5 multiplied with negative 3 gives you a positive 15, because the two signs being multiplied are the same. However, a positive 1 times a negative 3 gives you a negative 3, because the two signs are opposite. And similarly, negative 2 multiplied with a positive 4 gives you negative 8, positive 24 divided with negative 6 will give you a negative, because the two signs are opposite, and 24 divided with 6 is 4, and negative 30 divided with negative 5 will give you positive 6, because you are multiplying a negative with another negative, same signs. Now that we know the rules, let's try and evaluate the expression x squared y plus 2xy squared minus xy minus 1 for x is equal to negative 2 and y is equal to, let's say, positive 3. X squared y is x times y, and x is negative 2. So we have negative 2 times negative 2 times positive 3 plus 2 times x times y squared, or 2xy squared, is 2 times negative 2 times positive 3 times positive 3. By the way, if a number is positive, you don't need to write the plus sign. If you write 3, it implies positive 3. Minus this one, xy, is negative 2 times positive 3, or 3, minus 1, this one. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Positive 4 times positive 3 is positive 12. So we have a 12 or a positive 12 over here. Plus 2 times negative 2, or positive 2 times negative 2 is negative 4, times positive 3, that's negative 12, times positive 3, that's negative 36, minus negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6, minus 1. Combine the signs. Positive with a negative is a negative. So we have 12 minus 36. Combine these two to get a positive 6 plus 6 minus 1. And that's equal to, add the positives together, 12 and a 6 is 18, or a positive 18. Add the negatives together, 36 and 1, that's negative 37. So the answer is negative, and 37 minus 18 is 19. So the value of this expression is negative 19 if x is equal to negative 2 and y is equal to positive 3. An algebraic expression is composed of several terms separated by plus or minus. Thus, in the expression p squared plus 5p minus 6, the terms are p squared, 5p are positive 5p, and negative 6. P squared and 5p are called the variable terms, and negative 6 is the constant term, because its value is fixed. Similarly, ab plus 2a square b minus 3ab square minus 4 has got 4 terms, and the terms are ab plus 2a square b and negative 3ab square. These are the variable terms. A and b are the variables in this expression. So these are the variable terms. And there's also a constant term, that is negative 4. So this is the constant term. Thus, each term is a product of one or more variables with a constant. The constant factor in any term is called its coefficient. Thus, we say the coefficient of a square b is 2 or positive 2 in this expression, and the coefficient of ab square is negative 3, because ab square has been multiplied with negative 3 in this term. Similarly, the coefficient of AB is, if you don't see anything, any number, it means you can always use a 1 there, because 1 times anything is that same thing. 1 times AB is the same as AB. Therefore, we would say the coefficient of AB is 1 or positive 1, even though we don't see a 1 there. Expressions can be simplified by combining like terms. Like terms are terms having the same variables raised to the same powers or exponents. Thus, in the expression 4x plus y minus 2x plus 1 plus 3y, 4x and negative 2x are like terms, and y and 3y are like terms. Positive 1, of course, is the constant term. To simplify the expression, combine 4x with negative 2x by adding the coefficients 4 or positive 4 with negative 2. So positive 4 and negative 2 gives us a positive 2. Therefore, 4x minus 2x is positive 2x, or simply 2x. Similarly, y plus 3y, y is a 1y, 1y plus 3y should be combined by adding the coefficients, both of which are positive. Positive 1 and positive 3 gives us positive 4. Therefore, y plus 3y or 1y plus 3y is positive 4y. Combining like terms is like combining fruits of the same type. So if you have 4 apples and if you take away 2 apples from that is due a minus 2, you end up with 2 apples. Similarly, if you have 1 pear and add another 3 pears, you have 4 pears in the end. Similarly, 3y square minus 2yz plus 5y plus 7y square minus 8 plus yz can be combined as identify the like terms and add them up. So we have a 3y square and a 7y square, or a positive 7y square. So 3 plus 7 is 10. So we have 10y square. We have negative 2yz and a positive yz, or a plus 1yz, and negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So we have minus 1yz or minus yz. There's no other term with a y, so the plus 5y stays the same, plus 5y. And finally, we have a constant number which is negative 8. So the expression simplifies to 10y square minus yz plus 5y minus 8. So that's all about variables, constants, and expressions. We'll talk about algebraic equations in another video.